I'm going to cook a simple and delicious fruit and fish curry. So just take a couple of minutes to get everything you need. There's not much. Get it all in one place, and we'll start by peeling the pear. And doesn't matter what size pear, what size apple you use, any one will do. So just peel all the skin off, and then you want to chop it into fairly decent sized chunks. Don't slice it too thinly, or the blender won't be able to pick it up. So just chop it into chunks and put it straight in the blender. That's it. And next, the apple. I like to use a corer on mine, but you don't have to. We haven't worried about the pips in the pear, and I don't worry too much about them in the apple either. So let's peel the apple. So you can use any apple for these, as long as it's sweet. Don't use a cooking apple, it will be too sharp a taste. I absolutely love this recipe because it's just full of good things. 3 whole pieces of fruit, delicious. That's it again, some big chunks with the apple. And next, the banana. This is a really good way of using up any old overripe bananas that are going black and nobody wants to cook to eat. You can use them in your cooking. Again, just chop those into chunks. Put those straight into the blender. Now you have a tiny clove of garlic. You really don't want too much garlic in this recipe. So just chop the end, peel that clove. Really, that's about as big a piece as you want. Now I'm just going to crush that. Give it a little chop, add that to the blending pot. And now I'm using fresh ginger. You can use ground ginger in this, but I like to use fresh. I'm just going to peel it a little bit. And then you want about 1/4 of a teaspoon's worth. So just grate that in. Keep going until you think there's enough in there. It smells absolutely delicious already. I love the smell of ginger. Add that straight to the pot. And now for the spices. So you want your 1/4 teaspoon ground coriander. Ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon, straight in. And then it's just a pinch of turmeric. I use the 1/4 teaspoon because I don't want to put my fingers in. So it's about half of that. And then a quick pinch of black pepper. And now you want 2 big tablespoons worth of the natural yogurt. So if this is a vegan recipe, then you'll want to use a dairy-free yogurt. I'm just going to put a bit extra in because I've got a lot stuck to the spoon. There we are. Now put the blender on, mix it up. Have a quick look at that, a bit more. I do this to a texture you like. If you're cooking for babies and children, they're not great with lumps, so one of the things they really like about this recipe is the texture, so do that quite smooth. And then tip that into your saucepan. I'm just going to take the blades out, not to waste too much of that. Tip that straight into the saucepan. Now I'm going to put that on. This is an electric oven on number 4. And you want to cook this for about 5 minutes to ensure the spices are cooked through. So that's taken us 5 minutes to get to this point. There. So now we're going to chop the fish. Now you can use any white fish for this. I'm using haddock. Just go to the fresh fish counter, choose a sustainable source of fish, and have fun with it. You know, any of the white fish will work in this recipe. So you can pick something that you can't even pronounce, you know, something you wouldn't use. Don't stick to cod because that's what you know. So hake works really well with this too. So we're just going to chop this up, and this is the perfect opportunity to check for any bones, especially if you're cooking for babies and children. You really don't want to find any nasty surprises in there. So just chop that through. We're going to cook this until it flakes, so it doesn't matter what size chunks you're doing. Just have a good look, a good feel through all of this fish. And this is the perfect time. If you're cooking now to eat this straight away, it's the perfect time to put the rice on. So 1 cup of rice, three-quarters of a saucepan of boiled water, and turn the oven on full. Those spices are starting to cook through now. You'll see some slight changes in colour, and you should be able to smell that. That will smell absolutely delicious now. You don't have to be here stirring it, I just like poking it. If you're cooking this for babies and you find that they're not keen to start with, don't give up after 1 attempt. Try them with it a few times, because this is a really popular meal for them. You can freeze this, divide this into pots afterwards, freeze it. It's a great one that you can send to nursery or when they go and visit Granny and Grandpa. And it's just full of goodness. You feel really good when you're feeding this to your children, because it's, you know, it's got fruit in there, it's got no nasties in it. If you want to be super healthy, you should use brown rice instead of white rice. And now that's cooking through. And that's had 5 minutes, so I'm going to just add the fish. Now you want to cook this for at least 5 minutes until the fish starts flaking off and is cooked through. So you'll know it's cooked through. Well, this has been cooking for just over 6 minutes, 7 minutes really, and that's cooked. That's cooked through. So the fish has flaked off. There's still some texture to it, but they're flaking into bits. It's all cooked through, and this is what I want to see. So I'm going to turn that off. Now check the rice is cooked. That's done, so I'll turn that off too. Go and drain the rice. I'm going to rinse the rice off. And there, this looks and smells absolutely delicious. Fruit and fish curry.